Well, yeah, I guess that there does that. We're back on the grind, baby.
We are
It's
grinding.
back of the back of the. It's a new month! Hooray!
Twerking right now.
Woo!
Yeah.
Whoa.
When did we start again? We started in October.
Oh, there's the thunder.
That's some loud thunder.
Yeah, big rainstorm going on right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pretty. It's like
It's a gully wash.
What's it called? Typhoon. It's like a typhoon level of water, dude. Seriously, it's
Yeah.
It's a
ridiculous.
gully wash right now. We live in a desert, and it's been a very dry summer, of course, for everybody. Dry and hot for everybody.
But especially
and-
us.
Yeah,
The deserts.
it's
Yeah.
been really rough, and now we're just getting slammed with rain right now. So there's probably going to be some flash flooding around the place, but hopefully none of us have to deal with
Yeah.
that. I think we should.
Hopefully,
Be
fingers
fine.
crossed.
I don't think flooding really happens too much in our area. It's not as much of an epidemic as it say like in
Further south.
further
Further
south.
south's bad.
Yeah. Especially like kind of like central, it gets pretty rough. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, video games are kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
You know, video games have storms as well.
They kind of
Oh,
do,
really?
don't they?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
perfect storm of ideas. Oh yeah,
Woo!
I see.
Oh.
I see. Well,
All right.
Silence.
yeah. Let's talk about other video games. Recently finished Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Well, I didn't finish. I myself determined I was finished with the game. I'm gonna make my opinion on this really like fast and whatever. I had like this whole kind of thing. I was just kind of whining about it as I was playing through it and whatever. And I certainly have a lot of problems with the game. But as I kind of told you guys just a little bit ago, we hung out yesterday. Most of us did, and it was just that it's a game for kids. It's like. I think the writing and so forth, it can be a little too patronizing towards its target demographic, but nonetheless, the game is not made for me. This is it's trying to appeal to a totally different audience now. And if that means, sanding its edges and cutesying it up and, goo goo baby bullshit, then so be it. And that's totally fine. And that game can be whatever it wants to be, but, I just don't care for it. It's a little too goo-goo baby for my taste, but I get the appeal. I certainly had fun with its gameplay in a lot of ways, but it's just after a while, I was just like, wow, it's just going through the same gameplay grinds over and over and over again in a story I have already checked out on. Characters just completely annoy me. Just like, what's the point? I'm just calling it here, and I did, so. But shout out to Ben for letting me borrow your copy of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. You saved me a lot of money, of course, so most appreciated.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, who else played video games this past week? Give me one. Somebody. Andrew, tell me one game you played this past couple of weeks or so. Give me one, at least one.
I played Sly Cooper just because I
Nice.
thought that.
Nice.
That was kind of like the backup recommendation. I don't know if anyone else played it.
I'm going to real soon, actually.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't like Ratchet and Clank, you might feel similarly to Sly Cooper. It's a very similar
Well, I like older
vibe.
Ratchet and Clank, at least what I've played so far.
I wanted to reiterate, what exactly did you not like about that game, Ben?
I mean, it's been a while since I've played it, but I think it was because it was just really janky, and some of the stuff that, some of the boss fights felt just, I don't know, really lazily put together, and I don't know, it felt like kind of slapped together. And I don't know, it thematically, how Sly is just he's a sneaky raccoon, but all the levels were pretty standard, hub world and then run and gun type situation levels. And so and this is coming from playing Sly 2 before it, so obviously that sways my opinion. But Sly 2 definitely had more of it played more into the theme that it was trying to go for, and it felt a lot more natural, whereas the first Sly was just kind of like, yeah, he steals some stuff, but the gameplay just feels like another type of like Crash style game. Not a lot of sneakiness and stealth. It was just, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and no, I can totally see that.
And then the boss fight that like caused me to rage was the there was actually I think we'll talk about this when we actually talk about the game, because I'm gonna play it again as well to see if I still feel the same way. But yeah, I don't know. There was a certain boss fight that like it was just really poorly designed, and I had a really hard time getting through it.
It wasn't the first boss, was it? The frog boss?
No.
Yeah.
he was doable.
That boss is just classic, like early 2000s 3D platformer boss, where it's like something just kind of jumps in a circle, and your only real strategy is to run to the left.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, that is so many 3D platformers, really. Just kind of like run in a circle until you win. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which honestly, games like that, like, it's just like just very undemanding of you. I'm currently in a mood right now. I'm in a mood, guys, where I just I'm just really craving stuff like that right now. Just stuff that's just very like laid back and just doesn't. I was kind of going through like I want to go into like more serious stuff over the past like year, I guess. But I don't know. With like my recent like schedule changes, and I also started like going back to the gym recently, and so I've been a lot more busy the past like few months. And it's like in my downtime when I'm playing a video game, the prospect of like that being almost work as well, it just doesn't sound very appealing to me. Games like Sly or like Ratchet and Clank, like that's the kind of tone I'm really kind of vying for right now. It just something more relaxing. So
for sure.
So definitely like the jank that you were talking about with Sly Cooper. Like I guess we'll get more into this when we actually talk about it in the episode. But there was like this whole like section where you're supposed to swing across a gap, like the easiest thing on the planet on paper. But it took me like 6 tries because it was just janky. Like I couldn't even like latch onto the hook for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But still at the end of it, I'm like, that was pleasant. Like even with those like caveats, I guess that's just the mood I'm in right now. So I guess I'm biased.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with wanting to kind of kick it back and take things easy in games for a while. I kind of feel that too sometimes, where it's just like, I bust my ass so much like at work and so forth. It's like, why do I want to play something where I have to be like hardcore, like into it? It's like, I'd rather just, play Pokemon or something, where I can just kind of like sit back and just kind of go through a gameplay loop. It's or something that's just easier to string along and easier to pick up and down and so forth. There's a lot of value in those experiences, so I definitely feel you there. I personally been on a bit of a horror game kick, which is kind of saying something, and I'm gonna kind of call this a horror game, but I've actually finally finished Cruelty Squad.
Nice.
Yeah, I finished it, baby. Game of the Year 2021 so far. It is quite the unique specimen. It is just continuing to blow up. I've been playing it for several weeks now, and like when I first heard about it and I was beginning to play it, it was already kind of like blowing up a little bit on Twitter, and then it started like being caught up in the FPS community, and there was a bunch of videos being released by those guys, like PC Gamer, a few outlets picked it up. Now even Donkey's made a video on it, and so with that, of course, it's just getting boatloads of attention now. And according to the Twitter account, Consumer Soft Products, the developer, I think it was as of yesterday or something, they sold like 40,000 copies now. So good for them as they continue to see their success there. I'm happy to see that this game is really picking up steam and people are kind of showing that, you know, we want more abstract, weirder experiences sometimes. We don't want to just play generic spunk gargle wee wee FPS over and over again. We kind of want something with some pizzazz, and this is some pizzazz, baby. Love it. It's great. It's a hardcore tactical shooter. I've talked about it before on here. I doubt any of you guys would find any enjoyment whatsoever while playing it. So I would not recommend any of you play it. But if it does seem interesting, at least admire it from afar. Because at least it's a fun game to watch, too. So, yeah, Cruelty Squad, Game of the Year. Elias, have you played anything?
I got back into Nier Replicant for a little bit.
Woo!
And that's it.
You have anything to say about it?
Nice.
It's Nier. What else can I say?
Yeah, speaking of which,
it's good.
Yeah,
it's good
I've
stuff.
started Gestalt.
I've been meaning to get into Reincarnation, the little mobile game that they made, but I keep forgetting to just jump into that because I'm so busy with Toho. So
I keep forgetting to play that too.
I'll eventually jump back into that, but yeah. So frick, I forgot. Oh my god, my throat. I started Clannad as well, so that's been interesting. Started off with a bang, surprisingly, for a love story. Very good game.
Oh, Clannad, is that a...
I thought that was an anime.
Oh, visual novel, okay.
Yeah, it is an anime based off of a visual novel. So.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
the original story.
That was like the traditional like manga turned into an anime.
Nope. It's a visual novel turned light novel turned manga turned anime. I think if I remember correctly the order. But yeah, it's a visual novel originally.
Okay.
So with like a ridiculous because I don't know if people probably don't know this, but for most visual novels, it's usually the main route has the most story written for it, and not much else. And then like it gives you choices for other side characters, but the side character stories tend to be really short or tend to be like not well thought out or kind of have loopholes or problems with the story. Clannad is one of those games that actually never did that. They really went in, and every single side character has a perfect story that makes sense to that character, and everything has a good ending to it, or not good ending, but like a fully fleshed out final ending to it, no matter which kind of route you take. So, kind of crazy that they were able to make a story that makes sense no matter which way you play it. So,
Hell yeah!
I'm excited to jump more into that. Yeah. But I think that was mainly it. I've been meaning to jump back into Toho again, like the Bullet Hell game, not the mobile one. Just because I do really like it. I just can't defeat the final boss on easy, and I was getting a little frustrated. So I was like, okay, we're gonna take a break, do something else. I'll come back to this in a sec. So, but it is a fun game. I just need to.
You just need to get good. You just need to
get good. Literally need to get good. My brain hasn't unlocked yet. And I started playing Rocket League again. I guess that's the other one.
Oh no!
I started playing Rocket League again.
We had a whole discussion about why you stopped.
I know, but the thing is, I'm muting chat, never talking to anybody.
Okay.
And I'm only playing with friends, and I'm trying to keep it as casual as I can, like not focusing on comp or anything too much, just kind of playing casual. So we're trying to stick to that. Hopefully that will help me not die, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
So, yeah, that's the way to go. In my opinion, at least. Yeah, just play with friends, really. And if you make new friends, that's awesome. But just playing with random people I don't know. It just always seems like a route to like some sort of negative experience.
Yeah.
Which is depressing to say, because like that's one of the cool things about the internet, right? The fact that you can meet other people and do things with them, etc. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but there's, racists and transphobes and just generally shitty people out there. Yeah. It's all sorts of different kinds of awful people out there that just have to make things not fun.
Yeah. And this is why I want to play things like Sly Cooper.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
I always find myself swallowed more by single player experiences than multiplayer most of the time, because the only time I ever really want to do any multiplayer stuff, I'm usually gonna play with a friend. So yeah, I get how you feel. Ben.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I played a little bit of Paper Mario. I'll be talking about that during the actual episode. I haven't finished yet, but I've gotten decently far in it.
What chapter are you on?
Well, I'm still on the I still finished the prologue, and I'm in chapter 1, but that's also because I've been balancing my time between 2 Souls games as well, because I went back to Dark Souls 1 because I kept seeing videos about this Black Knight halberd and how it was super OP.
Yeah, baby.
And so I was like, you know what? I want to try that. And so I went and I was prepared to do a few runs to get the drop, because every time you go through the run, like the speedrunner tactic is you go through and you kill a certain enemy that doesn't respawn, and if you mess up, you have to restart the game, but it only takes about like 10 minutes to get to that point. But I got it first try, so that was cool. And then once I finally leveled up enough to be able to use it, like it really was just like the app, like it's easy mode pretty much. It does like so much damage right out the gate. And like, for example, a lot of people, when you fight the bell gargoyles, which is like the first awakening bell boss, you're usually going after them with your base weapon or something like that, or a weapon you found just kind of laying around. And it takes like, you know, a couple minutes to beat them. But I went in and I think I killed the first gargoyle in like 5 or 6 hits, and then I went and like one-shotted the second gargoyle with a strong attack. And yeah, that's just the beginning of it, and then you upgrade it to like, you know, its maximum, and then you're suddenly like beating bosses in like 4 or 5 hits or something like that. It's insane. I mean, at least like DLC bosses, obviously they take a little more, but yeah, it was, I think I went through the entire game plus DLC in like less than 10 hours because of it. So it was pretty fun. And then the opposite happened when I went to Demon Souls. Let's just say that, because I was getting my ass handed to me. A lot of people have been saying like online that it's the easiest Souls game, but well, the remake specifically is the easiest Souls game. But yeah, I've been having a bit of trouble with it, but I think I've kind of broken through the barrier a bit, so I'm getting somewhere now. I beat 2 bosses that were giving me trouble, and I got past an area, so I'm having a little more fun now. But
nice.
So far,
which bosses
really
did you
liking
beat?
It. What?
Which bosses did you beat?
I got past Flame Lurker finally, and then I beat Maneater.
Flame Lurker's so much cool.
Fool's Idol as well. Flame Lurker's awesome. Maneaters were kind of jank.
Awesome. Yeah, Maneaters aren't really that great, but oh man.
Flame Lurker's Fool's Idol was just kind of boring.
Yeah.
But yeah. Flame Lurker was fun though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the 1,000-Year Door, are any of you guys past chapter 1?
No, I don't think so.
Then we should just switch to Sly Cooper then.
So.
Great, sounds awesome.
I think I'll be able to beat it.
I don't want you guys to have to like grind it. I think it would just end up being a negative experience. We can do a sort of thing where like we just play 1,000-Year Door sporadically and just talk about it as you guys go through it. And Sly Cooper can be like the main recommendation, so you guys don't feel like forced to play it.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna finish it in general.
Yeah, so let's just not bother by making it the main recommendation. Then it's a long game. You know, there's 8 chapters. I don't want you guys to have to force yourself through it. I think it would be cool just like if you guys just like play through it. Not necessarily finish it, but like just like and just sort of like give me like general thoughts. Like I'd be more than happy with that, and we could just have a different full recommendation then.
I so far admire its story, visuals, overall presentation, but I hate playing it. It's so freaking boring. It's just not the kind of game that I want to play.
I mean,
at all.
Ethan, if you wanted to just like watch like a let's play and the cutscenes, I'd be totally
That's
fine
how
with that.
I would love to watch, like friends play it even or something. Because again,
Ethan, go ahead and do that. I don't mind at all.
Yeah, I'm enamored by how it looks, and I love like a lot of the writing so far. I'm like, yeah, this is a lot of love and care and attention is put into this, and I think this is really cool. I just don't like playing it, and again, it's a lot like how Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was for me. It's like it's just not for me. I think this game was not made for me. I just don't like its gameplay structure as a whole. It takes a lot for a turn-based RPG to win me over, and I've only ever finished one that wasn't Pokemon, so it's just not my genre.
Yeah, I was thinking that would kind of be the case with this game, and that's totally fine. If you guys like watch a let's play, and that's the main thing I'd want to talk about anyways in the game, not necessarily the turn-based combat. So, and that was actually my first exposure to the game. Actually, I actually watched a let's play of it initially, then I played it. So, I mean, yeah, if you guys wanted to do that instead, I don't mind at all. I wouldn't be offended by that.
I wouldn't have played though.
Yeah, I mean, hey Ben,
I've been enjoying it. Yeah.
I'll definitely finish it. I'll definitely finish it in the next 2 weeks. So if just the two of us finish it, you guys watch the let's play, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna bounce back and forth between Souls and 1,000 Year Door, and then I'll possibly get around to Sly. But yeah, because I've picked up Steam with Demon Souls specifically. I've put away original Dark Souls again because I've played that way too many times. But I've picked up Steam and Demon Souls again, so I want to keep going on that. And then 1,000 Year Door is fun. And Sly, I mean, I've played it already, so I already know kind of what my thoughts were back then. But obviously, I want to try to give it another shot and see if my thoughts have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds
Cool.
dank.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in the meantime, I can mention I started a multiplayer game and retired it all within the past 2 weeks.
Nice.
Game.
Yeah, Pokemon Unite was a thing.
Oh, that's the
MOBA.
The MOBA.
League of Pokemon
yeah.
or whatever. I was having a little bit of fun with it when it first launched. I played it day 1. I played it day 2, and I played it day 3. And by the time I started up on day 4, I was like, nah, this is shit. And how I felt that way is because it's a free-to-play MOBA, nothing wrong with that. Of course, there's microtransactions in it, that's understandable. Again, it's free-to-play, I get it. But the weird thing is once you get to a certain level, you start having these little trinket-held items that you can keep on your Pokemon as they are out on the battlefield. Yeah. And they give out certain stat boosts and so forth, and they can be leveled. Well, here's the thing. You can buy levels into these things. You can pay to rank these up. So, it's become just a pay-to-win nightmare. It's just full of, the matches are going either one of two ways. It's either you're having, you're going up against a bunch of, little children, and you're just wiping the floor with them like there's no tomorrow, or you're going up against people who have sunk money into this game hardcore just so that they can win games and feel good about it. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, why the hell do I want to put myself through this? This sucks. And I just uninstalled it off my Switch, which sucks because, the little bit I played, I had fun. The first few days were actually really fun. And then everyone discovered the pay-to-win stuff. And then, it's just become a nightmare ever since then. And the game now is just getting even more and more desperate, apparently, to try and throw money out of you. It's constantly just putting up pop-ups and pop-ups. Oh, buy gems, buy this, and I'm like, oh my lord, please, I want to play the video game. And so I just decided, hey, what's the point? Screw it. So I guess that's all in terms of like brand new games. Those are all 2021 releases. I played 3 recent games this past couple of weeks. Aren't I cool?
Epic style.
Epic style. I have a couple of more.
Style.
I have a couple more I can go through, but I want to check the room and see if there's anybody else that's got another one they want to throw down.
Not really.
I guess I have one. Just like a couple hours ago, I tried. I was just playing Don't Starve, just randomly.
Oh, nice.
Which I thought was kind of thematic because it started raining. I was like, this is perfect. Have you guys had much experience with that game?
I've played a tiny bit.
Played it once or twice.
I played it with friends that try too hard at video games, so it got real boring real quick.
Rip.
Because they just go super. They're like, okay, how do we quickly and efficiently get to the final boss and destroy everything in this game as soon as possible? I'm like, that's not the point of these survival games.
There's a final boss?
That's not the point. Yeah, there's a way to finish that game.
Oh, yeah. I assume it takes forever.
Yeah, unless you have my friends, then they do it in a day.
Man, yeah, that sounds kind of annoying. Just like going into a
so
game brand new, and
my
they're just like,
experience.
let's speed run.
I have 6 hours in that game. I missed 1 day playing with them, and they finished that game. Same thing that happened with Terraria. Literally the same thing happened with Terraria happened in Don't Starve. So they kind of ruined the game for me.
It's kind of been my experience with Terraria as well.
It's a cool game. Like I did like it, but they literally ruined that experience because they just wanted to go fast, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Anyway, continue. Don't start.
It's funny. Back when we were trying to make a game a few months ago, it's kind of put on hiatus, shocker. But it's funny because when I was first initially pitching the game that we were going to design, a lot of people told me it's like Don't Starve, which I had never played before. And yeah, when I started playing Don't Starve, like, yep, this is like beat for beat, like a lot of the same gameplay mechanics, which I find funny. I find it funny that like you can have ideas completely like independent of knowing about other things, and then people tell you like, oh, it's similar. Like that's not like it's not like a crime or anything to like take inspiration. But I do find it fascinating, like when things are unintentionally similar to other things, and people point it out to you, and it's like, I thought I came up with something original. And we're all
newsflash, nothing's original.
Yeah,
there's no original thoughts to be had.
Yeah.
I'm curious, as creative people, like, have you had that happen to you guys a few times, where you come up with something independently?
100%.
I've just come to accept it with music, that everything I will ever write will always be something that sounds like someone else's thing, and I'm okay with that at this point, because it's just all going to sound the same, and all that matters is the slight little spices you add to it.
Some of my favorite artists of all time are, liberally use samples and try to, kind of use them in interesting ways, and, many artists I enjoy and many video game soundtracks I enjoy are actually kind of derivative of a lot of kind of popular, kind of more, not necessarily mainstream music artists, but, people who normally don't make video game music, but kind of taking a lot of those ideas and trying to mold them in ways into an interactive medium and do a very interesting job with that. We'll get into that in a little bit. But
yeah, I was gonna say, like, with the music thing, like I had that thing happen literally just like last week.
Oh,
because I was working. Wait, what? Hello?
What?
Continue. I think someone just grunted.
Okay, anyway.
My internet's cutting out. That's what's happening.
Oh, we can still hear you, Elias.
No.
But
yeah, I just heard Elias go, and then Ben was like, what?
Yeah.
That was fun.
But anyway, I was saying a week ago, I was working on a track, and I did like a little breakdown thing before I built up to a drop or whatever, and I was like, this sounds great. I like how this sounds. And then I was listening to, and then I was mowing the lawn, and then I was listening to a track of like an EP of a electronic music artist that just came out, that they released just recently, and I heard that same style of breakdown before the drop, and I was like, oh, that's where I got that idea. And I was like, yeah, nothing's original. You're always like, everything's Frankenstein at this point, you know?
Yeah.
And that's okay, because, you know, it's great.
That it is. You just have to find a more unique way of kind of expressing yourself through it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Seems like Elias's internet cut out, so
maybe we should wait for it to come back here for a second, and we'll just cut this part out.
I can at least rattle off some stuff. But
yeah, go ahead and rattle off your stuff while we're waiting for Elias.
Okay. We can kind of cut like this weird section out and everything. I'm sure we'll do that. He'll find a good way to clip it. Anyway, I've a couple other things I guess I'll just quickly mention. I've already kind of talked to Elias about these, but two other games I kind of touched this past minute. I played some Nier Gestalt, so basically that alternative version to Replicant. I've been playing it on the Xbox 360, the original release of that there. Not too far into it, so I can't necessarily say how I feel about it so far, but it is very interesting to see a lot of similar gameplay structures that Nier Automata had, but seeing them far less polished in Gestalt. Very interesting. And then I guess the other thing that I played over this past bit, it was the very original Silent Hill. Finally jumped on the Silent Hill bandwagon. It's been a minute. Haven't been on that in a while. Finally decided to jump on that. And, it's just a totally amazing experience. Great atmospheric horror experience. So much fun. Very disturbing. Hard to play at times. Very eerie. Got under my skin quite a lot. Phenomenal soundtrack to assist the very spooky visuals, which, kind of the two of those combined created a very, very awesome atmospheric horror experience. I would highly recommend it if you can. I don't know, if you're willing to kind of put up with the kind of game that it is. It's a tank controls survival horror game. It's not nearly as janky as the early Resident Evil games, and this came out after some of those, and because of that, it controls a lot better. The combat is very much simplified and made very easy, which is really nice. But you're gonna deal with some, kind of weird and interesting, very thinky puzzles, and a lot of really cool atmospheric horror. So, I'd give it a shot. The only problem is physical copies are over $100 for the PlayStation 1, and the only other way that you can play it is you can buy a digital copy on the PlayStation 3, and you can also go other routes that are totally morally correct, but for legal purposes, I'm gonna tell you, you can't do that.
we call them totally legal copies.
Yeah, totally legal copies. There are totally legal ways that you can additionally play these games. And
that's how I will probably play it.
Yeah, I really think you should, though. It's at least give it a shot. It's a short game. Without a walkthrough, I finished it in 8 hours. You could finish it in like 4 if you followed a walkthrough. It's pretty short, but it's super good. And with that, I've been very excited to jump on the second one. Anyway, what are you saying, Ben?
I was saying I've been wanting to play them for a while because I also am a bit of a horror enthusiast when it comes to games. There was a time a while ago where I was on a huge horror kick, and I played almost all the horror games I had in my library. Save for a couple, I still have yet to play Soma. I hear that one's pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, I need to play that one too.
Yeah, but I've heard a lot about the Silent Hill games and how like they're pretty influential for like pretty much every indie horror game that comes out, and how like they're I don't know, they're pretty unique in their atmosphere and pretty spooky. And I just love that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've been wanting to try it.
It's a series that was made in so many interesting ways. It started off as this kind of like last-ditch effort sort of game made by a bunch of developers that were underperforming within Konami. They're just a bunch of underperformers that were thrown into their own studio. They called Team Silent, and they they kind of were making like a bunch of stuff, and Konami just at one point was still like, okay, we need to publish something from you guys. You need to provide some sort of work. And Silent Hill was that work, and got a lot of attention from there. That's definitely was a cult classic at the time, and it's certainly hit more of a mainstream appeal nowadays, which has certainly inflated the prices of the series, unfortunately. But no, they're dang good games, man. Dang good games. I'd at least give that first one a go. I'm excited to keep going through the rest of the series. I've listened to the soundtrack of the second game, and I have to say that's probably one of the best pieces of music I think I've listened to in quite a while. It's very good. But yeah, no, I've also secured an original Xbox and an original Xbox copy of Silent Hill 2, just so that I have a means of being able to play it whenever I deem fit, so without having to, emulate it or whatever. So, because I'm one of those nerds who'd love to have a physical copy of it.
Totally legal copy.
It is. Well, this one is most definitely a totally legal copy. I bought it off of eBay. It'll be here by next weekend. So, and awesome. I'm taking a little extra PTO after a little bit, and that'll give me enough time to try and finish at least the first 3 Silent Hill games. Because I'm borrowing the other ones off of a friend, so I can still play them on original hardware. So the very first Silent Hill, I played a physical copy of it. On a CRT TV, playing it on an actual PlayStation 1, and oh my lord, that just felt so good. It hits different. It does hit different.
Hey, Elias is back.
Elias has returned. I've just been talking about Silent Hill.
Yeah, I'm sure you had a lot to weigh in on, Elias. Oh, what? Oh.
I think he's still getting ready. In the meantime, I was just gonna say, when you talked about CRT TVs, like I had this thing like a little while ago. I was trying to find one because I wanted to like replicate my my childhood gaming setup, where I just had like a nightstand with the CRT TV on top, and then I would just have my PlayStation 2 like in the area, in like the little cubby area below the nightstand.
Yeah, I feel attacked.
Yeah, and I would just sit cross-legged and play, like Ratchet and Clank or Jak and Daxter or whatever on it.
That's exactly where how my CRT setup pretty much is right now. It's just sitting on top of a dresser. My CRT sits on top of a dresser, and then I have my computer desk that's right next to it, and I put whatever console on the desk, and it stretches out so I can sit in a chair, sit on my bed, and play games.
No, the thing that I actually want to do, hopefully, is I want to see if I can find one of those like old like 90s banana chairs. So I can play old PS2 games in my room, just on the floor on a banana chair.
I wonder if my grandma still has hers.
Hell yeah.
If she doesn't, if she's looking to get rid of those and downsize a little bit, I'll probably take them.
Epic.
They're very 90s as well in how they look. They're kind of like a weird blue color.
Am I back alive?
You're alive!
Yes, you're back alive. Hey, welcome back.
Sorry, I was flipping laundry in the meantime because I was like, well, I'm dead. I'll just flip laundry.
Nice. You just reminded me about my laundry, but I think mine's dry anyway, so it's fine.
Well, while you were doing laundry, I was talking about the first Silent Hill game and was kind of mentioning the soundtrack of the first one, and that I listened through the soundtrack of the second one. And I was going to make that a totally epic segue to start talking about our main discussion of today.
Hey.
Epic. Woo! We're talking about
introduce it?
talking about sick-ass video game soundtracks, kind of some of our favorites, what makes great soundtracks for us, just whatever spitball conversation. We thought of this last minute, so it's probably going to come across as very last minute, so...
my idea
we love
again.
music.
But Elias has wonderful, beautiful ways of talking about music, so
I don't know about that.
I'd say so. So it's definitely worth listening beyond this if it sounds way too deranged. Which that's saying something because I'm pretty deranged as it is. So anyway, music is cool.
Music.
Yeah.
All right, I made a big list.
Rattle them off, baby. Let's go.
All right, I divided these by genres. These are games that I have personally played. I'm just gonna list them all off, and then we kind of talk about them as you guys have played and or have not played. I'm sorry about this, Ethan. There's a few of these that are from your list of things you didn't want to ever talk about, so we can ignore those. And I agree with ignoring. I agree with ignoring them, but I will not agree with.
Let's just assume that the
saying music's
musicians
bad.
were treated well.
I will assume the musicians were treated okay, because for the most part, very very big most part, it tends to be a little bit better. But I'm also playing. Okay, I need to stop playing.
Well, also,
Mini Metro.
Keep in mind, are they making money off of it anymore anyway? That's the thing.
True,
like,
true.
whatever.
Yeah. It's a one-time paid gig. They're done. They're out. Anyway, so I started off with war games because I play myself a lot of shooter war game kind of things. In this list, I have to put Crysis 2 because Hans Zimmer worked on that.
Oh, Crysis 2 is good.
Battlefield 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and 2, and World of Warships, which is a kind of weird one to put in there, but World of Warships, man, good music. In 2D platformers, we have obviously Hollow Knight, Cuphead, obviously, Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Fez, all the classic Sonic games, because all of them are really good, and Touhou Luna Nights. 3D platformers, we got Portal, because it's pretty good. It's pretty good music.
Yeah, I guess.
Destroy All Humans, the classic Destroy All Humans, and Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. I don't know if I really call this a 3D platformer, but it kind of fits in that area.
Kind of like a puzzle adventure game.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Whatever,
Adventure
it fits
games.
whatever mold.
Here's where I realized I play a lot of adventure games that are like kind of adventure-y style. I have Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Horizon Zero Dawn, Death Stranding, the Nier series, Doom Eternal and Doom 2016, Ace Combat 7, Ace Combat 0, The Belkan War, Bayonetta, Payday 2, Sekiro, Assassin's Creed, the original game, and that one, and Brotherhood has another really good one. And Elder Scrolls Skyrim, and Firewatch, which is again a kind of an outlier, but if you've ever heard the soundtrack for Firewatch, that is some of the best like ambient kind of textural, tape saturated, just like goody goodness that I love. So Firewatch is a good one. Miscellaneous genres. I have Project High Rise. I don't know if anyone has ever played Project High Rise. That has one of the cleanest soundtracks for like a city building kind of game. I love it so much. Papers, Please has a really good one. Very minimalist, but very good. Mini Metro, which is the one I'm playing right now, is one of the most subliminal, like, very just ear candy soundtracks I've ever heard, and it fits the game so well. Transistor, which kind of is like a 2D, 3D, weird kind of parallax type of effect game. I don't know how to call it. 2D platform, I guess, but Transistor I put here just to be safe. The Touhou Makukusai, that's that bullet hell game I was playing, just because Touhou, everything Touhou, just good music. The Escapist 2, because I forgot that was a game that I played, and I really liked the music. Didn't really like the gameplay, but the music was really good. And then visual novels, I have Doki Doki Literature Club. Yes, it's good music. It fits the genre very well, and it does very good what it's supposed to do. Clanad, because Clanad opened with a banger, and I was like, yes, I need to hear more of this. And then the other visual novel that I think I'm like a quarter of the way through, I need to finish it, but Atri has a really nice soundtrack as well. So, but yeah, those are all the ones that I picked up from the games that I had. And those are the ones that kind of stuck out more. There's a bunch of others that are really good, but these are the ones that were more memorable, and I could say would actually think of like a theme to each of them or something that I really stood out, and I was like, yes, this is a good soundtrack. So
there's a genre in particular that I didn't see any representation in there, which acts as a little gateway for me to gush a little bit about some sick ass horror game soundtracks, because they are out there and they are so good. So good. Again, I haven't even played Silent Hill 2 yet, but the music is phenomenal. It is one of the best like post-rock albums I think I've listened to in a while. Very inspired by Portishead. I totally forgot that the composer of the Silent Hill soundtracks, Akira Yamaoka, he loves Portishead and a lot of that like kind of ambient, kind of dark ambient and post rock, and it kind of created some really intriguing soundscapes for the Silent Hill games where they can kind of go between industrial but also then kind of go more into a rock kind of sort of I don't know, aesthetic, however you want to put it. But no, I would highly recommend you listen to the Silent Hill 2 soundtrack, and it's on Spotify, and it's truly phenomenal. Needless to say, the music is just great there. Of course, other amazing horror game soundtracks, Resident Evil soundtracks, dude. Oh my god. so good. Andrew, how about that Resident Evil 4 save theme? It's good. It's good.
I assume it was. I can't remember.
Oh, you don't remember? Oh, okay. All good.
Yeah, this actually.
I just know you're the only person here who's played Resident Evil 4 yet. So I was like, aha, what's up?
That's something that's interesting about me that I probably should go into since we're talking about music. I did not listen to music like hardly at all growing up. I was a very odd child. I didn't have any favorite bands. I didn't really like listen to the radio. I never had an iPod. And as such, I have a very hard time picking up on music. Like, I'm practically tone deaf. I can't like remember motifs or beats. It's very difficult for me. That has changed. I like music a lot more now that I'm older. I listen to music regularly on Spotify. However, I often use music as a way to put myself in a certain mindset. For instance, there's songs that get me like pumped up, for example. So I use that to, like, at the beginning of like a work day, or if I'm about to exercise. There's music that like puts me in kind of like a trance. So that's good for like if I need to start drawing or do something that's a bit more mundane. So that's kind of how I treat music. It's almost like a tool for me to like just kind of like put myself in a certain mindset. It's cool that we're talking about video game soundtracks, because those were kind of the first motifs that actually started sticking with me. And as the resident Nintendo fanboy, it's most of my favorite, all of the motifs that really stick with me are Nintendo related. And pretty much any Nintendo franchise, name one, there's songs I actually could like hum to you, which is very weird for me. Even like my favorite songs.
I had the Zelda theme playing in head.
Yeah,
I had.
Or Zelda's Lullaby.
Nintendo soundtracks slap.
Like, yeah, I love that song. Yeah, Zelda, Mario, the Pikmin soundtrack is really underrated. It's very ambient. It's very atmospheric, which is great for a puzzle game. One soundtrack that I really love, but it is really fucking weird, is the Splatoon soundtrack. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to anything Splatoon.
I think you've shown. Yeah,
I've heard a bit of it. Yeah,
it is the like it's the first thing you notice when you play that game. Is like, what the fuck is up with the music? Like, it's because it's they use like they made their own made up language for like the squid characters, and they put like weird sort of like underwater noises to the lyrics, so it sounds like people are like singing underwater. What's really cool about Splatoon though is that it actually has a lot of like fictional bands in universe, and each of the bands have their own unique sound. Like, seriously, you can like look this up. Like each band has like 3 or 4 songs, and they all sound like they're the same band, like they were performed by the same person. You could also look up, but there's some cool behind the scenes videos of Splatoon music. It's all done not with synthesizers or anything, with actual vocalists and actual instruments. It's Japanese ladies like singing like a made-up squid language. It's
that's interesting.
Yeah. It takes a while to grow on you. Like, if you guys were to look it up right now, you guys would probably not like it, is my guess. But if you listen to it for a while, at least for me, that's what really grows. It grew on me a lot. And it's like one of my favorite soundtracks now. So, yeah. Donkey Kong. You guys.
Yeah, baby, Donkey Kong Country.
You guys listen to Jungle Japes? That's my jam.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, Jungle Japes is good.
Yeah.
Oh, the DKC soundtracks are just god tier, man. God tier.
Yeah.
So good.
I love the Luigi's Mansion main theme.
That one's impossible to forget. Whoever wrote that like motif did an incredible job, because like, even though I don't listen to it very often, like every time someone says Luigi's Mansion, I know exactly what the theme is, no matter how long it's been since I've heard it.
Nice.
Yeah, there's so many.
It's a very catchy motif.
Yeah. And that's not even like going into like their old school games, their 16-bit music. I really love like they have a lot of awesome end credits themes in Nintendo games. I've beaten a lot of them, so I like the Super Mario World end credit theme, the Super Mario 64 end credit theme actually kind of like makes me tear up a little bit.
It's so beautiful.
I love the Luma theme in Super Mario Galaxy. That's the song.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's the song that plays at the end when all the Lumas like kamikaze themselves. I don't know if you remember that, Ethan. Yeah.
Yep, I do.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Spoilers, I guess. A lot of awesome Nintendo music. And those are actually the motifs that stick with me the most out of like any music ever. Which I don't know how unique I am in that, but I'm definitely unique on this panel in that sense. Like when Elias was rattling off those soundtracks earlier, like the only ones I knew were like Cuphead and Hollow Knight.
I was gonna say I'm the reverse, because being the music nerd I am, you would think I would love Nintendo's stuff, which I do. Nintendo stuff is good, but I can't remember any of it because I've never played many Nintendo games. So I've heard the songs, but I have nothing to like attach them to, since I've never played any of the games. Because I don't really care for Mario or any of Donkey Kong or anything.
Well,
I don't really care for any
even
of that.
then, you probably could like hum like the main Mario theme, right? Like, because that's just so really
on the spot for some reason I can't remember it.
Hell yeah.
Just on the spot, if you made me think about it, I was like, oh yeah, I can't remember that. Because you were thinking about Luigi's Mansion, I'm like, I have no idea what that theme is. I probably heard it.
I don't blame you
I
for
cannot remember it to
that.
save my life. Ah, yeah. Okay. But yeah, I just can't think of those off the top of my head for some reason. I don't know why.
I haven't even played Luigi's Mansion, and I know that and, like, the theme is like permanently embedded in my brain.
I have not played it either.
I love that game.
I haven't played it either.
Ooh, I should have. Maybe I should have recommended that.
Oh, I'm down because I think I lied. I did play it, but like not actually like I'd never owned it, and I never went over to a friend's house. The only place that I played it at was at a McDonald's play place for like 10 minutes.
It's super short. It's like less than 6 hours, even on your first playthrough. So, and you can play it on Dolphin.
I want to play it.
Yeah,
I'm probably actually gonna go download it right now, actually, because I don't know if I'm gonna play it recently.
You're gonna get a totally legitimate physical copy off of eBay.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to eBay and get a totally legit physical copy.
A surprise recommendation. We're gonna play Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that, to be honest. I think that would be funny.
At some point, I've got a little bit on my plate already at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot already, so maybe that'll be my next recommendation.
Keep that in mind. That would be a very good one. One I'd be very excited to do. But speaking back on to the music topic, and speaking of amazing theme songs, I'm unfortunately mostly alone in this category because none of you are as cultured as I am on Metal Gear. but those
Oh my
Metal Gear
god, I heard the
Solid
Sons of Liberty
soundtracks.
theme. How did I forget about that?
Oh, it's so
I've
good.
never played it.
Oh,
It's so
actually,
good.
that's
Dude,
another
the
one that
Sons
I
of
know
Liberty
without playing the
theme
game.
is so
Yeah,
good.
the main theme
Yeah.
to and
Bum,
the
bum,
first
bum.
Metal Gear Solid game.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah, and then you have
yeah.
And then what I love, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, again, favorite game of all time, truly, still unbeaten. It starts off, because excuse to gush about Metal Gear Solid 3 real quick. Love this game, tactical espionage, stealth action sort of thing, and with that, the game takes place during the Cold War. There's a lot of James Bond kind of jokes and references. It's kind of framed and it kind of plays out a bit like a Bond movie in a lot of ways. It's kind of a satire and a homage on Bond while still being very Metal Gear, and I love it for that. Oh, the fanboyisms, I'm just gushing about it. It's so great, I love it. But because of that, the theme song, baby, the Snake Eater theme song is the best Bond theme out there. It's so amazing. It is the corniest, stupidest thing on the planet, but it is so well written and just passionately performed, vocally speaking. It is truly phenomenal. And what's great is that the Metal Gear series as a whole has fantastic vocal tracks. The best is yet to come. From, I think that one was MGS1, if I remember correctly. The one that was in Irish. That's a good one too. And, of course, Calling to the Night, that's in Portable Ops, is also a phenomenal track as well.
I've heard that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
I think they featured it in Brawl.
Yeah, no, and for good reason, because that song is freaking awesome.
I used that for a couple of custom stages in Brawl, actually, because I really liked it.
Yeah, it's great, and that's a freaking, like, non-canonical, like, side game on the PSP, and they went, like, freaking all out on that shit. Like, it's, yeah, man, Metal Gear. Oh boy, got to gush again. Oh, Ethan. He gets to go woo again.
Have we
I'm just
mentioned
imagining
Halo?
that Instagram. Wait, I'm imagining that like Instagram filter where it's like da 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 da. It's like doing like a little heart thingy and like zooming in on Metal Gear, and it's just like Metal Gear.
Metal Gear. But yes, Andrew mentioned Halo soundtracks, which are some of my favorite orchestrically composed soundtracks. Yes.
See, okay. Here's my only complaint when people talk about soundtracks. They only ever think about the theme, which, great, granted, the theme is good, right? That's the only good part about the Halo soundtrack, in my opinion, because I've heard the rest of it. It's the only good part of it.
I will very much disagree. There are very fantastic deep cut tracks and suites throughout all of the mainline Halo entries. Halo 4 and 5, Halo 4 and 5, not really. Especially like Halo 5 is really too string heavy. It's way too obsessed with just fast and high-pitched strings all the time. You gotta be like, oh my lord, dude, calm down. But I have to say, like Cairo Suite from Halo 2, some of the beginning music as you're beginning the campaign there, so very rock solid and very much kind of pumps that attitude of an ambush coming in and you're kind of straving the fight forward. It's so great. You have like Ambient Wonder from Combat Evolved where you're on the ring and it's just all kind of quiet and you have the wonderful kind of electronic ambiance of watching the lights flutter around before you run into the flood eventually and things get dark. Heretic Hero in Halo 2 as you're playing the Arbiter storming through like hardcore flood-infested areas with this kind of bell type sound that really punches forward this, I don't know, this really like badass, like hell yeah, like drive forward, we're gonna like, I don't know, that's one thing I really love about a lot of those soundtracks in Halo, and also how that they can additionally introduced many amazing quiet moments, especially in the Halo 3 ODST soundtrack, which a lot of those tracks are very more on the somber side of things, because it's more of a more sad kind of Halo experience. That you have a lot of saxophone even in many tracks on that soundtrack, and it works just wonderfully to create this very cool, soothing atmosphere around this nighttime, alone in the dark sort of feeling. It is truly fantastic, the work that Marty O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore did to create these original Halo soundtracks, because I think all of them are extraordinarily special and phenomenal in their own different ways.
Martin Salvatore is the fusion of the two.
Yeah, Martin Salvatore, the fusion of the two. But I will definitely agree in that when it comes to talking about Halo soundtracks, large majority of the people only want to talk about the theme songs. They only want to talk about dun 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 dun, which, don't get me wrong, that's a fun song. I love it. It's great. I love it, and I love those Halo themes. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, again, those are phenomenal songs.
Yeah.
They are iconic for a reason. They are truly fantastic songs. But that's the thing, those, a lot of times those are the only songs that people want to talk about. But when you really talk to a true Halo fan like yours truly, we know our things about the soundtracks. I'll definitely say there's just a lot of good music throughout that series. So, but no, I totally get how a lot of online discussion especially leads you to feel that way. I don't blame you at all. I really don't. People are so annoying.
Y'all mind if I reference some stuff that...
Go in, man. I was just blathering.
By all means.
No, you're good. Because once we were talking about this, I started thinking of all the ones that that I forgot about from my childhood. For some reason I totally forgot about we were on the subject of Ratchet and Clank earlier, and totally forgot about the OG trilogy soundtrack, especially the first one. The first game soundtrack is just full of these breakbeat bops.
It's so cool.
It's so cool. Yeah, they're so catchy. And I don't think I've went back and listened to any other Ratchet and Clank soundtrack more than the first one, because the first one is it's great. I
think it's the city one in particular, I think, is the one that's playing in
Metropolis
my head right now.
Kerwan, yeah. That one's really good.
Yeah, no, man, and you get that sick drum kick beat that comes in there.
Yeah.
The chimes that started off, and then the beat kicks in later on, and that's when you're really beginning to fight enemies, and how that, oh man, timing, mwah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Ratchet and Clank's good.
So good.
Interesting enough, I actually think when it comes to I'm thinking back of the main three PlayStation 2 platformers, because that's what I grew up with. The Jak and Daxter soundtrack actually wasn't that interesting to me. Obviously there's the main theme, the drum thing, but other than being thematically applicable, it doesn't stand out as much as, for example, Sly's soundtrack. Sly's soundtrack was amazing, and Elias can vouch for this as well, since we both have played Sly 2 pretty heavily in our childhood. Just the sneakiness of the soundtrack, the little bass riffs and stuff like that.
Is it a bit jazzy?
It was jazzy, yeah. It was really jazzy.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was not as much jazz as you'd think, but
okay.
One of my favorite things about it, though, especially Sly 2, is when you get into the rooftop brawls and you're smacking around the enemies, and they do those little those brass stings, the bam, when you kill someone. They're just so charming. I love it. And then continuing through PS2, both of the Dark Cloud soundtracks were really good. And for the rest of you, I don't imagine you guys ever playing Dark Cloud, because they are the longest stupid JRPG randomly generated dungeon crawlers.
Wow, yeah, I'd rather kill myself.
Yeah, I don't see any of you guys getting into them these days, but I have a special place for them in my heart, and I still will go back and grind through them, because I don't know, I just like them. Their soundtracks were really good. They're really MIDI, but that's kind of the charm of it as well. And then kind of some of the ones that Elias mentioned, Hollow Knight is amazing. The Ori soundtrack is amazing. And then 2 franchises that I haven't heard mentioned yet. One that only I think have experience with is Subnautica. Like in terms of atmospheric soundtracks, Subnautica really does it well for like its setting. If you think of like a sci-fi ocean planets like survival setting, they really nailed the sound design and like the atmosphere for that because it works so well. And then in the second one, they do even better, I think. I was actually just listening to it today. And then the other one is just anything from software. All the Dark Souls games.
I was wanting to bring up Dark
Bloodborne.
Souls at some point.
I think I was gushing about this in our like our general chat the other day. I mean, not the other day, but like a little while ago. But the theme song Lawrence, the first vicar from the Bloodborne DLC, is probably right now one of my favorite video game songs of all time. It
I
is
don't
just
blame
so
you.
good.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so
I still haven't
good.
beat the boss. I need to go back and do that. But man, like
my
it's
personal,
so good.
My personal favorite out of the whole bunch goes to my favorite boss of the whole series, as Slave Knight Gale. Man,
Ooh, Slave Knight Gale, dude.
Oh man,
that moment when you get into the second phase and then like it kicks up with
the vocal track really really
oh.
erupts at that moment, and that's when the move set begins to change, and then you hit
and he like
third
slowly walks
phase,
towards you and there's lightning in the background.
It's so good. In the music, I love how the music dynamically shifts in that, and I love how the Souls soundtracks do that very well. In fact, video game soundtracks as a whole are very great about kind of creating those dynamic moments and splicing the tracks in ways to sort of heighten whatever kind of mood that they're going for at any moment. But it's certainly valuable to enjoy listening to them on their own without having to even play the games too. I want to talk about because we were kind of talking about a lot of drum and bass kind of stuff more along the lines of Ratchet and Clank. I'm going to mention another PlayStation exclusive game that has an unparalleled, phenomenal soundtrack, and that's Ape Escape, baby. That game is so much fun. It was the very first game to require the dual analog control of the DualShock. Very first to require it. And it was this big like tech demo for the controller for Sony on the PlayStation 1, but I still think the game is still great to this very day, but the soundtrack, man, oh my lord, it is some of the best sounding like UK drum and bass out there. That's the genre that it technically is, I suppose.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, it obviously is like composed by Japanese artists. I cannot remember his name. I could look it up on Spotify real quick because the soundtrack is on Spotify and I listen to it all the time. But you have just so many amazing like electronic tracks that kind of range from weird, well, not necessarily weird, but like beautiful ambience to like sirens and like but all this kind of unique sounds that they're driving synthetically is all backed up by a really like sick, like always fast-paced like drum line. Of course, like the beats and kind of how the rhythms go, they change, of course, but
right,
it's not the same song over and over again. It's not the same drum beat on every track, but man, just truly fantastic. Ape Escape, gotta be one of my favorite genders.
genders. I have to listen to that one because you mentioned it was like UK drum and bass, and that intrigues me.
That would be a game I would love to recommend one day, but I don't know how feasible it would be for everyone to get their hands on it. It would be much. How could somebody get the PlayStation 1 access very easily and so forth, and get totally legitimate physical copies of this game? Anyway.
I wonder.
Anyway, Ape Escape. Oh. That one's truly great.
And then real quick, I want to geek out over a specific soundtrack with Elias here real quick because we both played the game and we both enjoyed it. But Ace Combat Zero.
Yeah, I called it.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, Ace Combat Zero. I've up until Elias had me play it, I didn't really know much about the Ace Combat series, but then he showed me the song Zero from Ace Combat Zero, which is the final boss theme. And like, man, like I hadn't even played the game and I just really liked that soundtrack to where I was like going back and listening to it like on my free time. And then I finally played it and I like experienced the final boss and like everything that led up to it. And I was like, bro, like how have I never played this game before?
Well, because it's a plain JRPG game. Well, I mean, not JRPG.
Not really JRPG, but it's a playing game. And I didn't really play playing games when I was growing up, aside from that weird like Rebel Raiders one that I only played like 3 levels of. But man, like yeah, Ace Combat, that classical guitar, you know, just the vocals in it, like little operatic like stings and stuff. I don't know, just like the like knowing like the stakes going into it, it's just like, oh, so good. Yeah.
It's a good one. Yeah, it's a good one.
I'm kind of waiting to hear Elias gush about something.
I don't know. There's so many.
You have not mentioned Nier, Elias?
I did mention Nier. Is it the Nier series? But like, okay. Where do I even begin with the Nier series then? Because there's so much to that. I don't want to like super nerd out on it, but let's just say
let's talk about some highlights.
Keiichi Okabe basically is the master of the motif. For those who don't know, just in case, the motif is basically just a singular like musical idea, like a melody, or even a chord progression, a rhythm. It could be any kind of small idea that gets repeated throughout something. And so he's so good at taking a motif, keeping the melody and everything exactly the same, especially if the melodies are really well written. Very simplistic, with a lot of good jumps where they need to be and things like that, just to kind of really push some emotional kind of heartstrings. And it's almost what's it called? Cliche. It's very cliche the way he writes, but he writes it in such a way that doesn't feel cliche, if that makes sense. So, but anyway, the motifs that he uses, he kind of keeps the same thing. But everything that he writes around it changes so drastically. He can change the meter, he changes, obviously key signatures are not too hard to change, but he changes key signatures, changes the meter, changes the groove, changes the instrumentation, to the point that you almost, even I, like, that really pays attention to the music, I forget that it's the same motif, or I forget it's the same song. It's just a different, like, styling around it, or a different, like a mood. And I think it's a whole different song, and it isn't. It's the same song, but in the moment you can't realize it. And that's to me the mark of a really good soundtrack, one that you cannot recognize what it's doing in the moment, at least. You know, if I were to analyze anything, obviously I'm going to figure out what the heck is what's going on, or understand what they're doing to invoke certain emotions or invoke certain feelings, and or increase or decrease tension, you know, things like that. But in the moment, it should only add to a story, expand upon the ideas of the story, and help propel whatever the original writer's intention is. And that's what he does so well with the Nier series. Because for the most part, I don't recognize that the music is there. And that's the beautiful part about it. That's one of the reasons I loved Up. I'm going to go into Up real quick, but Makoji Aquino is another person who I very much look up to in terms of very good, easy to understand, easy to recognize motifs, but in the moment of when you're watching it, you will never recognize that they are motifs, but you will feel that they are there, and you will understand the extra part of the story. There's a lot of things I would go into. I don't want to take up too much time, but yeah, and Nier does that super well, and I really love that. Same thing with Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight does the same thing, where they take the same motif for like a general walking area between Green Path and between what's the first place? I forgot the name of it.
Forgotten
Crossroads. Yeah, they have the same melodic instrumentation, but the way that he changes the meter from 4/4 to 3/4, and then also does a few other adjustments, makes it so that it doesn't feel like the same song. Was it David Larkin? Daniel? David?
Christopher Larkin.
Christopher. I gotta take it. Christopher
It also
Larkin.
ties back The motif for Green Path also carries way back into Dirtmouth as well. It starts in Dirtmouth, continues through Forgotten Crossroads, and melds into
and evolves,
Green Path.
Yeah, and it kind of evolves, and you'll hear it again and again during different sections of walking. And the chord progression kind of stays the same throughout every walking section, which unless you take the time to stop and analyze the music, you would never realize, you know?
Because each track in each area has its own identity, but it's like the same like general idea, just reconstructed.
Exactly, yeah.
At least for the first little bit.
So that's why I mainly love those two a lot. I forget who the orchestrator was for Nier's soundtrack, but something I do want people to realize, obviously, and because I don't think many people do. People that write music for games don't actually write the whole music. They have people called orchestrators, or I forget what the other term is for them. But so basically, someone will write a theme, the chords, maybe some generic ideas for it, and then the orchestrator will go through and make that written for orchestra and separate all the parts out, make sure the instruments get the right parts, and they kind of work together a little bit. Sometimes they work separately, sometimes they work together. But for instance, for the Crysis 2 soundtrack, the themes and motifs that were written were Hans Zimmer. And he is very good, very, 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 very good with like almost 2-note motifs. He's so good with that.
And writing in D.
Writing in D, yeah. But like the Batman, was it Arkham Knight that he wrote for, I think? I can't remember. The
movies as well.
Yeah. But the main motif, I'm talking about the movie. The main motif for the movie is literally a rise between one note. The Dark Knight, yeah. Between a rise and one note in the French horns. Just it just kind of sits there the whole time. That's the whole motif for his theme. And he does such a good job. But the magic in that is actually the orchestrator. The orchestrator is the one that really creates that mood. And with Crysis 2, I forget. I wish I remember the names, but for Crysis 2, the orchestrator, he did a fantastic job taking those motifs that Hans Zimmer made and just adding all this little ear candy, textural sounds. But they're all technically the live orchestrated instruments and a couple of synths here and there. But just getting all these interesting sounds of the orchestra to just really create this tension. And with the Crysis 2 soundtrack, it does something a lot of other, at least like shooter kind of soundtracks don't do very well, in my opinion, which is just build tension. And they just keep building tension. And it just never leaves for some of these tracks. But yeah. Anyway, that's the Nier
I really
stuff,
enjoyed.
So
I mean, I haven't finished Crysis 2 yet, but I really enjoyed what I heard, especially when you enter the pause menu theme.
Yeah,
that little motif is pretty cool too.
Yeah, all the little things that go into it are my favorite, and I just love all of that. But
yeah,
themes are great. Themes are awesome. So
yeah. Got anything you want to add, Andrew?
Yeah, man, I just had like a lot in my head, like and we never mentioned Celeste, because I think I'm the only person that's beaten that game.
Yeah,
that
I
game
was
has
going
a
to mention
gorgeous
it, but
soundtrack.
I hadn't played it. I wanted to go off the stuff I only played. Yeah.
And my personal favorites are later game. There's a nightmare level. That game is just that level just is a wicked, like, creepy song. I love it. And there's also a sort of boss fight. I don't want to spoil. And that the song that plays during that is also awesome. And just also like the first level. Every song in that game is good, but those are the ones that mainly stick out to me. Helps a lot with the atmosphere. Games that are like 16-bit and they manage to sound really good with like just beeps and stuff. I always really respect that. I imagine it's a lot harder to compose something like that than we give it credit for. So shout out to like my favorite composer then, I guess, would be Koji Kondo, who like has composed like all of Nintendo's things.
Nintendo's good.
So yeah,
that guy's a mastermind.
Yeah.
I also forgot to mention one. I don't think anyone's talked about this yet, but one of my absolute favorite soundtracks still to this day, like that I just completely spaced out, was friggin' Skyrim. Jeremy Soule.
I put that on my list. Yeah.
Yeah, Skyrim, because I don't know, like ever since I heard it like way back in 2011 when I was playing it, it's just constantly been one of like the best like exploration like soundtracks, because of just the way he creates the sonic environments and stuff, the little motifs that carry through. I mean, we've just been talking about this a whole bunch, but just the way that he writes and it gives it a very specific, like, I don't know, like, I guess, Norse or like Norwegian flavor, because, you know, that's where Skyrim is kind of like inspired by that area. And yeah, I don't know. I always, there was a period of time where I was listening to that like on repeat for like 6 months just because it was great background music to have.
Yeah,
his atmospheric composing is just oof.
Yeah, the general like walking theme between like cities is just really good with the violins. They're just kind of holding a few notes, and it's just super well done texture-wise, and I love that.
And I think one of my favorites is the one called "The Streets of Whiterun," where it starts off with like the reverb piano thing, and then it goes into the cello, where it's like the da 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 da. And it's just like really peaceful, and I love it.
Is there any like songs with lyrics from video games that you guys like?
Oh my
Weight
lord,
of the World
baby.
from Nier. Oh my goodness, that is the song.
Bury the Light for Devil May Cry 5, Virgil's theme.
I am the
storm that is approaching. It is the corniest, dumbest bullshit on the planet, and I love it. The vocal tracks for Devil May Cry 5, listen to them. They're amazing.
Yes.
I mean, this one's not lyrical, but it's got vocals. But Horizon Zero Dawn, a lot of that.
Oh yeah, there's vocal stuff in there. I think Andrew's meaning more lyrical kind of stuff.
Yeah.
One you guys might kind of laugh at is the opening cinematic of Kingdom Hearts. I like the song that goes on with that.
Simple and Clean.
Simple
or
and
whatever.
Clean. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I really like that song.
I haven't even really played Kingdom Hearts, but I've just heard that one so much, and it does stick with me.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I also really love Jump Up Superstar from Super Mario Odyssey.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
That game gives me so much. I mean, that game just gives me all the good feelings, and that's like that song just kind of embodies that. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think, not to keep gushing about Nier, but I think Nier's the best soundtrack ever, you know. Anyway, both of the ending songs for Nier Replicant and for Nier Automata have multiple language versions, and each language version has different lyrics that all tell the different parts of the same story. And I think that is just genius. And they're all orchestrated slightly differently, they're all done just a little bit differently, and it's just... it's genius. It's so genius, and I love it.
Oh, speaking of like corny but enjoyable vocal soundtracks, just a lot of stuff from Sonic. Like
Yeah.
Crush
yeah.
40. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of Sonic, the very first Sonic game, I really love the music in that game, like Green Hill Zone and and Marble Zone. Each one is like really good. That's more old school.
Sonic has consistently had some of like the best like video game like music, even though their games are always kind of hit and miss lately. But man, they always do well with their music.
I think there was a rumor that Michael Jackson helped compose like some of the Sonic themes. I don't think that's true, but that was like the rumor.
It technically is.
It's kind of true.
There's like weird like stories and stuff out of Sega and like little like actual bits of evidence that lead to Michael Jackson actually have working on it, but there were so many other people that additionally worked on it as well. It's kind of hard to tell, you know, what Michael Jackson really had to do with it, but he apparently had something.
That's funny.
I find that very like just amusing, the idea of like Michael Jackson like composing something for the Sonic games.
Right? Yeah.
Just that mental image is just funny to me.
That is pretty funny. Oh, and then just a couple of indie gems to throw in there, I guess. Journey, it has a great soundtrack.
Journey's
I was going to mention that one.
Yeah. Grease, a game that we played earlier in this podcast, has a fantastic soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
And then what was? And then there was one I just barely listened to today that was suggested by a friend of ours. I haven't played the game yet. I don't know if any of you have, but it's called Haven. It's another like recent indie game, but it's got a soundtrack composed by an EDM producer named Danger, who I've kind of heard like occasionally, but I haven't really listened to them that much. But I heard the soundtrack and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Because at first I thought, because the way that my friend described Haven to me was like like it's a romantic, like sci-fi post-apocalyptic type adventure. So I thought what I heard in the soundtrack was not what I expected. So now I'm like wondering what the game has to offer. So I might be playing that sometime soon. But Haven by Danger is really good.
So, I wanna quickly say, whenever we wanna do this, I know that Elias built a list before we hopped on, and I know I should have done that myself, but I actually finally got one kind of cobbled together, some stuff that we haven't really talked about a whole lot yet. So whenever you're cool with me just doing a splurge of a few quick notable soundtracks that I don't think anybody else will talk about, I've got a few.
It'd be good.
Real quick, someone who hasn't talked nearly as much, I guess. Andrew, Ben, you guys got anything else you want to quickly, before I splurge for a little bit? I want to make sure I evenly distribute time amongst my comrades.
Comrades.
I guess Smash Bros. Has had some pretty
Yeah,
good themes.
yeah. I was thinking that earlier. Yeah. Da 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 da.
That Brawl was pretty iconic.
Yeah.
Melee was
Alibaba.
iconic.
Yeah.
They're all iconic.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Brawl's my
Classic.
favorite though. Always for the
Yeah,
main thing.
Brawl probably has the best theme, I'll agree.
Yeah.
Melee second.
Got me pumped. With the 1,000-Year Door, if you guys are planning on just watching a Let's Play, that's totally fine. But there is my favorite song in that game is at the very end. It's called "We're Counting on You." I think it's a very, very nice song, and I hope you guys at least get to listen to that. Plus the Rogue
I'll
Port
give it a
thing.
listen.
Yeah, real quick. I do plan on keep playing it. By the way, Andrew, I didn't mean to
Oh yeah, no.
stop it. But we'll
yeah,
see.
you can do whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the only quitter.
With the Smash thing, the remixes they've done for the new Smash Bros. Ultimate or whatever. I don't know Smash very well.
Oh yeah.
But the remixes of the old games that they have on there, such as like Mappy or Sky Kid. They have a remix of Sky Kid, which the music for Sky Kid is so good. It's like 20 or 30 seconds of looped music, but it's the best 20 or 30 seconds of a kid flying in the sky that I could have ever listened to in my life. But yeah, a lot of the remixes they have because of that game are really good. So
I will agree.
Speaking of that, Undertale.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I purposely didn't say it because I'm iffy with Undertale's music.
I
Like-
love Undertale
Like,
soundtrack.
there's a few good gems, but
Do you like his theme?
Yeah.
I like that
I
song.
don't remember which one that is off the top of my head.
I guess the most iconic ones are like
dun.
Megalovania,
Obviously, yeah.
Save the World,
Bone Trousel,
Bone Trousel. I love
Good
Bone
one.
Trousel. Yeah.
Fallen Down, Ruins.
What's the end one that everyone always gushes about because it's the end one?
Hopes and Dreams.
Hopes and
Hopes and
Dreams.
Dreams,
That's
yeah.
that's actually, that's
Yeah.
one of the good ones. That's one of the good ones.
Another interesting one is your favorite nightmare or something like that.
Or,
Oh, yeah.
or
I
Death
actually
by
kind of
Glamour.
like that one.
That one's a good one.
Yeah,
That's
that
a good one.
I really like that one too.
I like the Temmie Village theme.
Tammy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, top tier.
That
Temmie
one,
Village.
that one slaps. That's probably the best track, the whole soundtrack. The
I really
Village.
like just the overworld theme for like the lava level. That one's really good.
Ooh, and the game,
Another medium. That's what it's called.
Right.
Another medium.
the game that Undertale is inspired by, Earthbound. Earthbound has a great main theme.
Is that just?
I don't know if you guys have ever heard it before, but look it up. It's a very, very pleasant main theme.
Oh,
Oh, I can still hear you, Elias, but I
dying.
don't hear anyone else lagging.
I'm dying. Okay, no, I think I'm back.
Okay, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you again. Sorry.
Okay, sick.
Gotta love my house. Yay.
But yeah. Anyway,
Yay.
you want to rattle those off?
Yeah, I got some to rattle off. No one's talked about God of War. Any of the God of War games. God of War 4 obviously has a very good soundtrack from Bear McCreary. He's
that
a
one's great.
great composer.
I can't remember
He's
any. I
done
feel bad.
no, I get it.
Dun, dun.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember that one.
Very obviously very Norse driven in that soundtrack. A lot of deep growling men hums and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I can't wait to grow
Yeah.
a giant beard and I don't know, like carry
Rip
heavy
off my
things.
shirt and start killing things with a giant axe.
Exactly. But even the previous God of War games have really great soundtracks as well. That kind of keep in line a lot, kind of spiritually, on kind of how you experience the newest God of War soundtrack. Very interesting kind of themes and motifs that you'd kind of derive, and I guess kind of mythological music and so forth. That's pretty great there. Talked a little bit about Resident Evil, but not a whole lot. Gotta say that the save themes of most Resident Evil games are just absolutely phenomenal. But they also have, great theme songs as a whole, and many iconic tracks throughout the series. Probably the best one would be, I think Resident Evil 2 original soundtrack is probably my favorite of the Resident Evils, but it's really hard to say because pretty much all of them have just amazing soundtracks. The Oddworld platformers, those are great. I don't think anybody has touched those.
I think, aren't they doing a re-release of that?
Brand new and tasty.
Well, I mean, they had that remake, but I'm talking about the original ones, the good ones. But not whatever the hell these reboot, remake ones are. God, they're terrible. But yeah, the first, at least those first two soundtracks especially, I haven't listened to much of Stranger's Wrath. I still need to play Stranger's Wrath. Here it's great, though. But, yeah, at least those first two soundtracks in the Oddworld series, Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exodus, are truly fantastic. The God Hand soundtrack is pretty freaking cool, gotta say. The Metro series, kind of more in the horror sort of side of things, kind of an atmospheric, linear, first-person shooter. Really great series, and the soundtracks of those games are fantastic, especially when you're in certain horror bits and so forth. They can be truly visceral and interesting. The Doom games, besides Doom Eternal, don't get me wrong, Doom Eternal's great, Doom 2016 is great. We gotta talk about old Doom. You're talking about the Boomer, okay? Old Doom. Those OG Doom songs are fantastic, and a lot of those are actually popular heavy metal songs of the time, basically quote unquote demastered into these kind of compressed songs. It's really interesting because you can find back and forths between oh yeah, no, that's definitely a rip-off of a Slayer song or a Pantera track or something, but they're so cool, and it sounds unique enough that I truly have fallen in love with those original Doom soundtracks. And Doom 3 has a really great soundtrack as well, and a phenomenal theme song. Quake, truly fantastic. 9 Inch Nails worked on the first Quake soundtrack. It's very visceral and dark, ambient, gross, kind of cool, creepy, kind of stuff I like. The reboot Wolfenstein series, talking about Mick Gordon, the Doom stuff is also really great, but the reboot Wolfenstein stuff is great too. Play those games. They're arguably as good in a lot of ways. Red Dead, Katamari, the Tetris Effect soundtrack. Yeah, that's pretty fantastic.
Tetris Effect has a sick soundtrack. Yeah,
it's so good.
I mean, just the Tetris theme in general is.
Dude, the Tetris theme is god. Yeah, that's a good one.
It do be a bop. The Witcher 3 soundtrack is really good. Really love that Scandinavian folk type music. Man, it's a good. Really like that. Good. It obviously fits the game really well, but it also makes for really great listening on its own, and it also makes for really great listening when you're reading the Witcher books. Devil May Cry soundtracks are fantastic. Max Payne 3's soundtrack, made by the band Health, an awesome kind of industrial rock band that I've loved for a long time, did the soundtrack Max Payne 3, and it's just Man, that shit's good. Really good. The Super Star Wars games on the Super Nintendo. Those kind of 16-bit Star Wars renditions, plus also original music as well. Those were really, really good. Have any of you guys ever played any of the Super Star Wars games?
I don't think I have.
I mean, I like Star Wars music. It does just sound like that, but 16-bit.
Yes and no. As I said, like, there's some renditions, but there's also some original music in there that's also really interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, no, they're pretty cool
Now
games.
let's talk
Lastly,
about
I wanted.
Let's not. I have a lot more.
Lastly, I
Rings.
just wanted to mention. I wanted to mention the Sega Genesis games that we haven't really talked a whole lot about. Because we talked, of course, a lot about Nintendo stuff, which is awesome. Because Nintendo soundtracks slap. But there's also good Sega soundtracks besides Sonic. Jet Set Radio, of course. Both the Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future are just god tier soundtracks. The Streets of Rage soundtracks are largely freaking great. Streets of Rage 3 is not as good, but it's still got some pretty good bangers in there. But Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 4, those soundtracks in particular are pretty bumping, man. Gunstar Heroes, Rise Star, Toe Jam and Earl. Yeah, this is a lot of really great songs that were composed with the limitations of the Sega Genesis in mind, which had obviously different sound capabilities than the Super Nintendo did. And while there's a lot of crappy Genesis soundtracks out there, those who knew how to really work with that hardware made some nice freaking banging classics. Of course, there's plenty of other soundtracks I could go on about for, ever and ever and ever. I certainly love video game music a lot, but, need to draw the line somewhere. So I guess I want to ask, is there any final thoughts? Anything else anyone wants to quickly bring up before we conclude?
Thinking about console games, because I forgot console games that I used to play. And a classic one that Ben and I kind of nostalgia'd on for a bit was Gran Turismo 3.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
the menu music is so good. Just classic Japanese fusion jazz. It's such good
Yo, that sounds
music.
cool.
Dude,
if you haven't listened to Gran Turismo 3 soundtrack, you need to,
I need to
listen.
send you a link to that. You would love it.
Hold up, is it on Spotify?
I don't think so, but you can look it up on YouTube. You can just look it up on YouTube. But like the race selection menu music and the store music are like my two favorite tracks in that. It's just good happy jams. Oh, I forget the band that plays for them, but it's a good one.
The garage theme is good too.
Yeah, the garage theme is really good too. And then you guys are gonna make fun of me for this, but having grown up with Ben 10 all my life, like the original good Ben 10, there is a Ben 10. Cool. There's a Ben 10 Protector of the Earth video game on the PlayStation 2 that I played.
Cool.
Soundtrack slaps. Game kinda slaps. Kinda slaps. I'm gonna be I think my sister was planning on doing a co-op stream where I play with her. I'm gonna try to speedrun the game again. That'll be fun. But yeah, we found out there's like over 100 tracks for that game for some godforsaken reason.
Oh wow!
There's 100 tracks because every single encounter, every single enemy has a slightly modified version of the main theme used for them, or something. And it's like, why? Why did they make it this way? But yeah, but that's a pretty good soundtrack too, at least nostalgic wise. I'm trying to think. There's the Spy Hunter. Oh my goodness, have you guys ever played Spy Hunter?
No,
I don't even know what it is.
It's like imagine how do I explain Spy Hunter? Frick, imagine a James Bond mobile mixed with like Inspector Gadget or whatever, I guess. But you don't play as a character; you just play as the car. It's like those like spy cars that have all the like tack wheel things or like extra tires or slick stuff or missile launch, that kind of thing. You play as this like spy car, and you have to go through these missions, like trying to take down this evil organization. I don't remember the game very well. I remember it just being really fun when I was like 10. But the music in that, if I remember correctly, is like super generic spy music, like rip off of James Bond, rip off of any spy thing you can think of, 007. But like, it was fun. They made it like drum and bass, like car chase music, which is really fun. But man, Spy Hunter, I should recommend that as a playthrough for the podcast.
So many ideas for
That would be
recommendations.
Yeah, just based off
in
of
this
the
episode.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Ape Escape, Luigi's Mansion, Spy Hunter. I don't know if Ben ever mentioned one. But...
I'm trying to think. Is there anything else old that I've played that has a good soundtrack? Wait, one second.
Pong.
I'll be right back. I have my PS2 collection like right over here.
Okay, sure.
Being able to kind of look around my physical collection and just kind of peer at my shelves has made it very easy to find some of the ones I'd want to talk about.
Yeah, I was going through like my Steam library as well. There's a lot of great game soundtracks out there.
Oh yeah, geez, my Steam library. I guess I could mention the System Shock soundtracks are really good. System Shock 2 especially is great. Blood has a really good soundtrack. Dusk in a Medieval, 2 boomer shooters, great soundtracks on those as well.
Sadly, nothing good. They're all garbage.
No,
Garbage.
dang.
Man.
The only one I found that was like, oh yeah, that was a good soundtrack was Burnout 3, but that's only because they just took like punk rock songs and put into a car game. So
That always
gotcha.
works.
I have to
so
ask,
it's like,
is there a game that you guys have played like pretty thoroughly that you do not like the soundtrack?
Danganronpa.
That game had a soundtrack.
It came
okay.
back.
It did have a soundtrack.
I got a pretty good answer for this. You guys ever heard of a game called Yoshi's New Island?
Nope, because I don't play Nintendo.
No, I don't think I have. I've heard of Yoshi's Island, but not new.
Look up the music of this game. I've beaten this game. The music is really annoying.
You said no, Yoshi's New Island?
New Island, yeah. And not Yoshi's Island. That actually has a good soundtrack. This is like a weird like remake type game. Yeah, Yoshi's New Island soundtrack.
What is this main theme? Just listening to
I guess I
farts.
can mention Battlefield.
Yeah, it sounds like farts.
4. Battlefield 4. That soundtrack was pretty.
Not even Battlefield 4,
bleh.
but just the Battlefield theme. It's like the only really good part about that soundtrack.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely. But yeah, Battlefield 4. I played a lot about Battlefield 4. I think that was a really fun game. But yeah, the soundtrack was just really. Most of the Battlefield soundtracks I've found are just kind of just for me.
It's
honestly.
just the main theme. It's the best part because just
They are
that.
pretty fun.
Well, I can't remember how it goes now. Gosh dang it! It always reminds me of the Terminator theme. So that's all I can think of. It's not that though.
Do 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 do.
Yeah, yeah, that's all I think. But no, it's what is it? Oh my goodness,
I've got one.
what is the Battlefield theme?
Oh.
I can't remember it. Oh my goodness, let me hear this. Yeah, did
one of-
yeah.
What are you saying, Ben?
Sorry.
One that I thought was like that I didn't even like really notice when I was playing was the Ratchet and Clank 2016 soundtrack, the remake. Because I think when I was playing it, all it reminded me of was like a Star Wars wannabe soundtrack, and they kept going crazy with like the like the scale thing, and I was just like, this is boring.
Yeah. A lot of soundtracks just kind of blend together, I suppose.
Sorry. In terms of the Battlefield soundtrack from Ethan's point, the only really good one was Battlefield Bad Company. That's only because Mikko Karlsson, the composer for that one, did a separate secondary soundtrack that was a string quartet version of the orchestrated track. And
I've heard that one.
That is so freaking well written, and it was live recorded, and it's just, I've never heard strings be so angry and strong, and it was mixed geniusly, and it felt so good, and there's I forget what the final song in that soundtrack was, but there's one of them that has 4 versions of the same song. One that's the orchestral version, one that's the quartet version, one that's a solo cello version, and that solo cello can have sex with me anytime. And then there's a quartet version, but with a bass solo. And dude, that bass, oh my goodness, I've never heard a soundtrack use a bass solo. Like, oh, it was so good. Battlefield Bad Company, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I think we could keep going on like this.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I can definitely.
Yeah, I
don't
really
check
think we
ourselves
could.
yet.
Yeah, maybe we should check our.
It's not hard at all to gush about damn good music, but I guess we could just cut it off there before we get even more extreme than where we were already at. So
Yeah.
yeah, baby,
'Cause I gotta
that's-
go to bed.
Yeah, that's
me
how
too.
we do it, baby. I get the day off tomorrow, so woohoo, losers. Anyway, plug thine stuff. I'll let whoever wants to plug first take the reins. Go.
I've got a link tree in the description. You can find me on Twitter. I shit post. Find me on Letterboxd. I write stuff about movies, but only when I watch movies, and that hasn't been a lot very recently. You can find me on Backlogged. I've posted a few recent reviews there, but then I just go around about and I share them on Twitter anyway. So, yeah, it's me.
Buy my book. It's called My Daddy Runs and My Mommy Runs for your little
Great books.
for your little 2-year-olds.
New York Times bestsellers.
Yeah. Someday they will be amazing collector's items that will be worth hundreds of dollars. So you want to get them now.
It's an investment. Think about it in the long term.
Yeah, wake up,
You guys should print numbered versions. You guys should print numbered
Oh,
versions.
we do. Sort of. Like there's the 3,000 copies got printed, and there's the number at the beginning, and plus I signed
there you
like
go.
20 of them. So
Woo!
yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
Limited
valuable
edition.
someday.
Someday
You will all see.
when the world burns and capitalism fails, they'll become valuable.
Yeah, well, everything will be valuable at that point.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay, you go, Liz.
I don't have anything. Screw you, because I'm not on Twitter, not on Instagram. Don't do anything. So screw you.
You don't have
Can't
a
follow
SoundCloud
me.
anymore?
I know I do have the SoundCloud, but
Oh,
meh.
liar.
He has a SoundCloud, so EFA. Go listen to
Go
it.
listen to it. It's garbage. Come listen to my garbage. It's
He has a
great.
few albums on there. They're amazing. He does J-rock Vocaloid music. It's pretty good stuff.
It's okay. Anyway, Ethan.
You sell yourself short.
Thank you, Ethan.
Gee, man, I plug so much stuff that I don't do with anymore, but you can get the link tree in the description. The only real things I'm truly active on at the moment is I'm truly wasting away my last threads of sanity on Twitter. I'm sometimes on Instagram. I'm all the time online. Hit me up, hot singles in your area. I write places, but I haven't done that in a while because I'm just so tired. But you can find the Letterboxd and the Backlogged in the link tree as well. More, I guess, diary-focused writing than actual, I put true effort into this, which I've been doing a little more of that. So if you want to see me whine about Ratchet and Clank or whatever, there you go. Enjoy yourself. All in the link
Epic.
tree. Hooray.
I think Ratchet and Clank might be the thing that we have talked about the most on this podcast.
That it has. It all comes back.
Yeah, it always comes back.
Yeah.
It comes back to.
That-
It always comes back to Ratchet and Clank. There you go.
The last few months of Ratchet and Clank have been like the beginning of the podcast's Last of Us Part 2.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I forgot about that. Every episode was like, so by the way, Last of Us too.
Speaking of which, Last of Us has a great soundtrack, but yeah.
I forgot.
Oh,
yeah,
that they
they
do.
do. It really does.
Yeah.
It really does.
We did not mention the last of us.
Okay,
That's
all right,
funny.
we're done. Goodbye.